Hello and welcome to Kia's Two Cents, where I, Kia, give my 2 cents on all things TV, film, books, and pretty much whatever I want. So, we're at the end of 2025, and the time has come for me to give my best of 2025 list in several different categories, obviously. So, let's start off with television. So, the best TV shows of 2025. I have four on this list and they do fall in their own categories. So, let's start off with the first one, which will be network television, and that is the show Doc, which airs on Fox. And it follows this woman who is a doctor, obviously, and she gets in a car accident and she loses 8 years of her memory, and she still wants to work. So we kind of follow her as she is now back to being an intern after being like at the head of her department, and just see how this memory loss has affected her in her work and in her personal life. I would say it's probably one of the best shows because this is a very interesting storyline. For me personally, the only medical drama that I watched for so long was Grey's Anatomy, and this kind of like plucked me out of that, whatever it is that you want to call it, that comes to Grey's Anatomy. It's very interesting seeing her try and get her memories back, get sparks, be someone who isn't the same, and how everyone is reacting to that. I think another thing that makes it the best is that when it aired season one, it got a lot of traction. I only started watching it like 5 or 6 episodes in and binged all of them in like a day because that's how locked in I was. And then when they announced that it got picked up for a season two, it got 22 episodes, which in this day and age of television is kind of unheard of. So it's kind of amazing to see things going back to how they were. So Doc is the first one on this list. The second one is one that I'm sure you can all agree with, and that is in the drama departments and like strictly drama intense, and that is Paradise. Paradise, the show that I am calling, and probably other people have called, the scandal of this era of television. It feels like everyone is locked in on this show. It feels like everyone is watching it and talking about it. They just shared a teaser trailer for season two that was very exciting. But like, this is a show that I don't think every single episode dropped weekly, but it was like weekly gaps after I think maybe like two dropped at first and then it was weekly. So that was nice. Also, there's an air of mystery to it because they're not giving you all of the information all at once, and there's a lot to speculate and a lot to theorize, and it was amazing doing all of that while watching. Before they aired the finale, I literally sat that weekend and rewatched every single episode, and I watched it on my computer so I could have it close to my face so I could see everything, and I was pausing and rewinding and taking all kinds of notes and making posts online of theories and things like that. So that's why I call it the scandal of this era, because that is exactly what it felt like watching Scandal live. And I just feel a little bit blessed that I'm old enough to have experienced Scandal live and am now experiencing Paradise live. Moving on to the teen drama department, because I am a defender of teen dramas, if you will, and the one on this list is Forever. Another one on a streaming service, Netflix, and it's another one that I immediately was rewatching after the first watch. It was just a great love story with the two leads, but also the story included their family in a way that was really nice as well. It was just very well done, beautiful to look at, very nice to see black people on my screen, and like deep melanated black people, if you will. So that was just great. And there is going to be a season two, and I cannot wait to see what everyone is up to when that show comes back and how this love story will continue with all of its ups and downs. And the final show on this list is one that was actually a web series, and If you know me, you know that I used to watch a lot of web series back in the day, so it's really dope that more are being made nowadays and getting traction. This is one that was on YouTube, and it's called The Comic Shop, and it's in the comedy section, and it is for all of us black nerds, blurs, black girl nerds out there. It was hilarious. I love the relationships between the characters. I was there, I think there's only like 6 or 8 episodes, and I was locked in the entire time. Did not want the season to end. Cannot wait to see more of the show. There's a lot going on with this show during its off season, or I'll call it a hiatus. I don't think they've announced a season 2 yet, but fingers crossed, we are hoping. And so you should go to their social media pages and check out all the stuff that they have going on and all of the different types of content that they're still bringing out while the show is on hiatus. But if you haven't already, all the episodes are up free on YouTube. It's a great show, especially if you are of the nerd variety like myself. Now on to the best movies of 2025. Now, I only have 2 on this list. I didn't watch a lot of movies this year. I didn't get out to the theater a lot this year. I just slack on movie watching, and that's something that I really want to change next year, and that I'm always striving to do, because I started out as a film person and then I moved to TV, and now I'm doing both, obviously. But on to the movies that I think were the best of 2025. The first one is like up there, and that is Sinners. Yes, Sinners was a masterpiece. That's all I could say to describe this wonderful movie. The performances were well done, the writing, the music, visually, it was mesmerizing, it was inspirational. This was the movie that got me excited about talking about movies again, because for a while I was just uninspired, and this was the one that got me out of that funk. So I have to give it all of that credit and give a huge round of applause to the wonderful duo of Ryan Coogler and Michael B. Jordan. And I've seen everything that they've done, and I will continue to watch everything that they do together and separately. So yeah, Sinners was definitely number 1. And the second movie on the list is Superman, which, another great movie that like reminded me of the Superman that I grew up with, knowing and loving. I said it reminded me of Smallville. It was great. The story was great. I have Marvel fatigue, I'm not gonna lie. I haven't consumed anything Marvel for a very long time, and seeing Superman made me excited about superhero movies again. And a lot of my favorite superheroes actually come from DC, but I don't watch a lot of DC movies, that is. I've seen several of like TV shows like Justice League and Young Justice, but it just feels good. I know that they're getting their whole reboot and everything, and it just finally feels right and home with DC. So Superman was a wonderful movie. And now for the best books of 2025. I only have 1 book on this list, and it is Sunrise on the Reaping. And all I can say is this book destroyed me in the best way possible. I'm sure there are a lot of people out here who would agree, and I am very excited is a weird word to use to see the movie, but I am preparing myself to continue to be destroyed by something titled Sunrise on the Reaping. And last but not least, the best sports moments for me in 2025. This was the year where, when I listed these out, I realized that all of my favorite teams won championships in 2025, and I can only hope for more of that in 2026. So first up, in February, the Philadelphia Eagles won the Super Bowl, and of course I went to the parade after being peer pressured into doing it because it's cold and I don't like the cold. But that was an amazing time. I went to a watch party for the Super Bowl, and then obviously we went down Broad Street with everybody celebrating, and then there was a parade. And even though it was super cold, it still ended up being a great time. And I got to see people that I met through social media, and that was great. And I also got to see family that I don't see very often, so that was awesome. And then in March, for the Unrivaled, which is the new 3-on-3 basketball league, the Rose Basketball Club, which was my favorite, won the inaugural championship after being the team that everyone thought was going to place last. So that was really epic. And of course, I got like merch and jersey and all of that fun stuff. And then in October, the Aces won the WNBA championship. I remember watching in 2024 when they were trying to have their third in a row, and it unfortunately did not happen. I, of course, watched that entire season and unfortunately was tuned into the 53-point loss game and thought that they wouldn't make it above 500 for a little bit there, but it was still Aces in 5. So, well, we said Aces in 5, but it ended up being Aces in 4 because that's all they needed to win, and they swept, and it was just amazing. And then of course I watched the parade because I don't live on the West Coast and I was not going to the West Coast for the parade, and it was still a great time. So all I can ask is more of that in 2026. Currently, the Eagles have clinched a playoff spot, so we hope things will be good for them. The Unrivaled League has not started yet, so I'm hoping that Rose can go BTA and back to back. And we do not know if there's going to be a WNBA season upcoming, but if there is, let's go for another one, Aces. Instead of 3 of them, let's get 4 of them things. And those are my best of 2025. Do me a favor and let me know your best of 2025, whether they fall in any of those categories or outside of any of those categories. I want to know what were the best things that you consumed in 2025, whether it's TV, movie, books, sports, food, theater, music, whatever. I want to know what was the best things of 2025 for you. And make sure you give me a follow, subscribe. All of my social media stuff will be in the description, so you can follow me there as well. And I hope that your 2025 was great. I hope that there were things that brought you joy through this year. And I can only hope and wish that 2026 is everything that you want it to be and more. Alright guys, I will see you probably in the new year. So, Happy New Year.